Hi there, my name is Andreas and I'm the founder of the e-commerce optimization agency Commerce. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to run effective A/B tests. So for this example store, we have launched a "You may also like" section test. Before this test, this section didn't exist, and we proposed to the founders, based upon of our analysis, that this would be a very good section to implement, because that way we can increase the average order value and sales in general. Initially, the founders were against it because they were like, yeah, we don't need it. We have a color section all the way up top. That's where they are able to see all of the colors. But we are like, hey, you know what? Let's test it and let the data speak for itself. And this is a very great example why testing instead of guessing is so important, and especially with an e-commerce. When you're running paid ads, let it be Facebook or TikTok, you're spending this huge amount of money and you're testing around within your paid ads. But whenever it comes to the online store, most e-commerce store owners really don't take enough attention to that. So how do we go about it whenever we want to know what customers are actually doing to create our hypothesis? Is using so-called session recordings, where we're actually recording people using the website, and also so-called heat maps, where we see where the most used buttons are. So for example, here we have a very good example of someone browsing the website, and you can see we're even seeing in the case of a desktop where the mouse is hovering around, and on mobile wherever someone is swiping and touching the website. So based off on that, as said, we created this "You may also like" section test. And that means 50% of the website traffic was getting the old version, and 50% of the traffic was getting the new version, including the "You may also like" section. The results were quite impressive. As you're able to see, we were able to increase the revenue by $20,000 for this test experiment. Whenever you launch the final version onto the live store, the revenue increases even a lot more. But based off on this sample, it was $20,000 more. So you can see this section made a huge impact for Cherry Shoes, and can make a huge impact on any e-commerce store, depending, of course, what you are selling. And again, one thing that is very important to keep into mind whenever you are A/B testing, that is very important. Do not just go ahead and test something. It is very crucial that you first analyze the store where you're doing the A/B tests, and only then go ahead and decide which sections or which objects you want to test, because each store is different, each traffic is different, and of course each product is different. So that's why it's very important to analyze first and then go ahead and test, because if you blindly test something, you can maybe even make more damage than any good. Now, I'm going to show you how to set up an A/B test like that. It is actually fairly simple. First of all, what you have to make sure is you have to have, I'm using Google Optimize, which is of course no longer available after September. So maybe you have a different A/B testing program. At the moment, I'm still using Optimize. If you want to use Google Optimize, you have to make sure to have your tags installed. There are plenty of videos on YouTube on how to install that. If you want me to make a video about this, please let me know in the comment section. So what you have to do is you have to click Create Experience and give your experience a certain name. Basically what I do, I usually give it a name of what the test is about. So in this case, I'm going to replicate the "You may also like" section. So I'm going to call it "You may also like" section, and where we're going to test it, it's within the product test. You can either make it an A/B test, or if you have different variants you want to test at once. This is especially good if you want to test different copies for your add to cart button or your announcement banner. Then you can have a multivariant test. Or if you want to test, for example, 2 different landing pages, then you can also use a redirect test. This is a lot easier than setting up everything via an A/B test. So then you're gonna just click Create, and you will be redirected to this section here. Here you have to add your variant, And in this case, I'm gonna call this one without the you may also like section. Since this section is already permanently implemented, I'm gonna use the new one, which would be without that one. So now here you can give it the weight. I usually do 50-50. That's the best way to give it a direct comparison. And you wanna select your editor page. In my case, this could be any product page. In your case, that might be different. If it's, for example, the home page, then you have to specifically specify the home page. Now, we wanna make the changes, so we're gonna click edit. And now we're going to be redirected towards the Google Optimize editor. So once all of that has loaded up, the interface of Google Optimize is loading up as well. And once this has loaded up, as of right now, you can see that we are able to select different elements and containers right here. So this test is actually fairly simple to set up. You just select the entire container as I do right now and edit element, and you can just click remove. And this basically already has created you the variant without the you may also like section. And this goes for every kind of device. And then you're gonna just click save. So if you're happy with the result, what you can do if you select this one, now you can actually interact with this section just to make sure everything works as it should. You can also add CSS code or global JavaScript for more advanced tests. For this one, we only needed to remove the section. So now that we have done that, we're just gonna click done. And now we will be exited again out of the editor, and we're going to be brought back to the settings of our A/B test. So now we're back here, and now we want to make sure to select the page targeting. If you wanna only test it for one specific product, you can just select a specific website. What I would do is not to select a specific URL, especially if you're running paid ads. With paid ads, you're gonna get unique URLs, which is going to make your test invalid because it's only going to look for this URL, which is not going to work most of the times. So what I would do is I would say URL contains, and you can just say products, and in this case, dark navy guilds. Remove this one, and then just click enter. And what you could do now is you can, for example, test it. So you can say dark navy mules, and you see the URL enters within the rule. Just hit save. And then you want to make sure to select your objectives. So what is it that you want to actually test? So I usually go from the list, so we can either test for page views, revenue, session recordings, or transactions. In this case, we want to hit revenue as the primarily objective, and then the second one could be transactions. And once we have done that, we are basically ready to go. We want to make sure that our optimized installation is verified. You can hit check installation to check that. And now we're basically all set to go. So this is how you set up a simple A/B tests with huge impact. If you want to know how to create different A/B tests and want to know how to further optimize your Shopify store, subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching the video, and see you in the next one. Bye.